Oftentimes, bad data is a result of human error just finding its way into the process. That's pretty normal, just over the normal course of business. And typically, you have cycle counting programs that are going to catch those onesie-twosie things that happen, and that will course correct it. But a couple of things that can, big things that can lead to, big events that can lead to inaccuracy in your data is staff turnover. We're hearing that a lot since COVID has come about. So you bring in a series of new hires, there's always a learning curve, and it's during that period of time, that learning curve, where that human error can start to kind of seep in and cause problems in the data. And then of course, as soon as you have one problem, it starts to become a domino effect, and it can really start to spread. The other thing that can happen is, as companies are going through, growth, maybe sales books a client, and maybe they take on a little bit more than what they're capable of. Resources have to be shifted to get shipments out the door to the new client, which means you're pulling people maybe from a cycle counting exercise into shipping or receiving. And so those cycle counting processes go by the wayside, and your accuracy starts to suffer as a result. Legacy data is, it's the data that, like if you're migrating a system, the legacy data is the data in the old system that's going to be migrated into the new system. So, well, I mean, just from a process standpoint, there's a lot of different things that can happen. One example is you physically receive inventory into your warehouse, you physically put it away, but you don't systematically receive it. So from a WMS perspective, there's no knowledge that that inventory exists anywhere. It's just kind of lost. Another thing that can happen is you actually do receive the inventory in through your WMS. You physically put away, but then the put away driver scans it into the wrong location. Again, that inventory is now lost, because when somebody goes to look for it, the WMS is going to direct them to the wrong location. So those are just some examples of some things that can happen. And then something that maybe is a little bit more nefarious is you'll get to the end of a shift. There's this concept called pick dump, and you get to the end of a shift, a picker is not quite all the way through finishing his pallet, and is ready to go home, and finds an open slot, dumps the pallet, and leaves the building, and none of that gets transacted. So that inventory on that pallet is then lost until you perform your next physical count, most likely. So that's a little bit more rare, but believe it or not, that kind of stuff happens.